Hello, this is Jim. I bought this 11K Westinghouse inverter generator because I live in Florida and I'm getting tired of losing power. This is hopefully a whole house generator. I did get a soft start device for my air conditioner, so it will run. I got a 3-ton. This is 11K dual fuel, and I got a lockout kit put on by an electrician and inlet, and you can see the giant cord I picked up also. So next step was I saw that this generator comes with a chassis ground, and if you're going to run it on your house, you need to make it a floating ground. All the videos I saw out there that do that, really all they do is they cut the ground that goes to the chassis and cap it off. And I kind of wanted to have a way to put it back to a chassis ground because I would like to be able to use it camping or something like that. So I did find a video online that a person made a switch, and it was a 60 amp rated switch, but the switch was DC, and it looked like a little cheesy electronic switch, which I don't think is correct. I think it's dangerous, and I wouldn't recommend that. So what I did is I searched around and I found this Baco, I think they pronounce it, BACO. It's just an on-off switch built for motors, and looks like it's three poles, or you can do 3 circuits with it. It's rated for 600 volts, I think. There's the part number. But it is AC, 60 amps, I think 600 volts. So I wanted to see where I could mount this thing. I wanted it inside because that's not rated for outside. Took the cover off, side cover, and I think I like that spot right there, right next to the motor mount. There's a bolt there sticking up that I could probably reuse. So what I did is I fabbed up a little piece of cardboard here, and this is kind of what I would like to do. Looks like it needs a little more trimming. Yeah, definitely a lot more trimming. So I'm going to make that out of steel. So it's going to kind of bend up like that. This is a DIN rail. I marked the size that I need for that, and I took a piece of junkyard steel. I went to the junkyard and got a big sheet of steel. It's pretty thick. I mean, this thing's not flexible at all. So I'm going to fab that up, and I did the cardboard first so I know the dimensions. Also on the Baco for the DIN rail, I got 2 locks. Put a lock on each side because the switch doesn't lock, and there'll be a lot of vibration in there, and I don't want that thing to ride itself out right off the DIN rail because that would be bad. So you can use these. They mount on and you screw them down so it'll lock on. So that's about it for now. I did get some break-in oil, comp cams break-in oil. I used the first quart that came with it. I probably should have used the comp cams because that's probably better stuff than what came with this, but I tried it out on propane just to make sure it actually starts. So I'm going to go ahead and start fabbing up that piece of metal, and the next video will be me mounting it and wiring it up with this. Also, I forgot to mention I found some 8-gauge wire. I wanted to get a green with the yellow stripe like what's from the factory. I did find one that looks identical to the factory, but it's only a 3-foot section, and I pulled a string out to how I'm going to run these wires, and of course it's 3 feet 6 inches or 4 feet. So this is the closest to green with the yellow stripe I could get that's longer than 3 feet. I did pick up some heat shield. This is just like a cloth material that is similar to the factory. So I'm going to be putting that on as well, but that'll be for the next video. Alright, thanks for visiting, and next one I'll show you how to finish this up. Thanks, bye. Alright, so this is what I came up with to mount this switch. So you can see it fits pretty nicely right on there. I fabbed it up in cardboard first and then folded it up to see if it, how it would fit inside the generator. And then I cut a piece of steel out to the same dimensions. There's your dimensions right there. Okay, that 4 is upside down. That's a 4 on the bottom. And I cut a piece of DIN rail, so that's going to go right on there, and you mount that on there. These are the locks, so that slides onto there, and then you screw it down with those screws, and that locks on there. So then you slide this on, and I will put another lock on the other side, and that will hold it on there to keep it from shaking off or rattling off. So I'm going to go ahead and bend that steel up to the shape that it needs to be, and there's your dimensions right there. So this is a pretty heavy-duty piece of steel here, and you don't want to use anything too flimsy that's going to be flopping around. Looks like a 1/16, maybe more, 3/32. And onto the vise, and I'm going to bend it up, and I'll show you what I end up with. On to the next video. So this is kind of what I ended up with. This is a piece of steel I made. I put a DIN rail on there. I got some stainless steel self-tapping sheet metal screws. I think those are the smallest ones I got. The metal's kind of crude, but it'll work. I'm using that existing stud that's there. It's a little tricky to get in there to drill. Well, that big hole's because that stud had kind of a sloppy weld on it. I ground it down a little bit, you can see. And I put two more holes on the side just to really anchor it in there good. So I made a little cardboard template there so I can drill in there without this piece in there, because you'll see it's kind of hard to get in there. Let's see. Okay, you can't even see it sitting on there, but it's on that bolt. So now I have to try and line up that. The cardboard's moving around quite a bit. I'm going to have to tape that down a little better, but you get the idea. I'm going to get that cardboard down there. Scotch tape's not going to work, so I'll get some better tape. This thing's just falling right off, so I'm going to get some better tape. I'll tape that down, drill in. I'm going to try not to go through the plastic housing on the bottom there, and I'll show you this thing. Try to get that on there. So this is how that goes on. And wire it up, and it's going to sit in just like that. And that's going to be the finished product. I'm going to back up. And that's going to be the switch. The cover will go right back on, and it'll be secure. This slides over a little. I have two locks that will go on either side of that. And next video I'll show it installed. Maybe we'll be doing the wiring. See you next time. I'm going to stitch all these videos together so it ends up as one long one, so you can see the whole process. Okay, so I'm about to try and do some wiring on this guy. It's a number 8. I tried to match the color of the wire that I'm going to be splicing into. It was green with a white stripe. The only one they had that was identical to what it is, I took this panel off. It's really comes off really easy. There's like a bunch of screws around the top, the bezel, and then the plate has a bunch of regular little screws there too. So nothing too complicated, but so this is the wire I'm going to splice into. So I'll probably cut it right there. I'm going to fish my wires. It was a little tricky getting that in there. You can see I got a little rod. Well, this is like a long piece of wire. It's got insulation on it, so it's not really metal. But I stuffed that in there in the hole. You can see it right there. Goes down in with all the other wires there. And I snaked it in sort of around the back. And it came around the front here and came out that little hole there. There's another hole that kept coming out of back there, where you can see those wires are coming out. But I didn't want to come around the back of that thing. I wanted to come out the front of this, because the back, it's kind of near that, that's a big, that thing out front here, this is a big, looks like a big heat sink. So I want to stay away from the heat. So I'm going to come out here where my little rod is, and then come down, follow the path of that black bar, that frame, and then come on over here. I want to mention also that, I got that plate's in there. It's in there nice. I mean, that is solid. It's not touching the motor mount. Really happy with the way that turned out. But one thing I will mention is, so when I put my template on there to drill those little self-tapping screws, I had to use this angle drill. So this goes onto the end of my drill, just so I could get in there with the drill. So I did, kind of looks like this. This is an old little Harbor Freight deal, and that just fit in there, and I was able to drill it out. So I drilled out those 2 holes. Now if I had to do this over again, and I recommend you do it, it was really miserable trying to get the bolt behind that. So probably what you should do is, I would maybe make a big hole like up around here and then down, or actually you could even do it right behind this. Make a hole that you can get a ratchet, an extension on a swivel to get in there to get the bolt on that stud. Because I had a miserable time trying to get my hand under here and get the bolt started. And if you put a hole through here, you'll be able to get a little 1/4 inch socket extension and a swivel, and you should be able to get it right on. Now I had to I ended up taping the bolt and the washer over the hole of this plate with Scotch tape and sat it on top of the stud so the bolt stayed on the stud as I tried to thread it. Luckily I got it the first time with the tape, but I spent about 20 minutes dropping the washer before I started using before I tried the tape. I was dropping the washer, dropping the nut, and that was miserable. And it was also hard getting these self-tapping screws in, even though you can see them. You know, you can't really get in there very well. So also you may want to make like a little U section here, maybe another one up here, cut that out so that you can get that 1/4 inch socket in there again as well. So overall it looks great. I touched it up with paint because I was scratching it as I was putting the thing on. So here's my switch with the wires connected. I'm going to just tape it off to this thing that I fished through there. Again, it's a number 8 wire. I got a green with a white stripe. As you can see, it's not exactly the same color. As that one. But hey, it's close enough. I'll know what it means. You know? You're trying to figure out what's going on. Looks pretty good. Now one more thing I'm going to mention that I'm doing is I also bought some. This is you can see all the wires in there. They have an insulation over it. It's like a fiberglass heat shield. So I'm going to run that over the end of my wire. Kind of hard to do with one hand, but there we go. I'm just going to slide that all the way down before I fish my tape through. I'll tape it off with electrical tape and then pull this thing back, pull this metal rod back, and I will have it fished in there. Tie wrap it off to the metal bar on the frame, and next video that I'm going to add to this one, it should be this finished product. So I'll be back. Bye.